Is this Pastor Cal?
Yes, it is. My better half is right next to me.
All right, I am going to rename you real quick. I saw you in the attendee side of things, so I wanted to make sure I had you on the spot where you could talk. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You might be off tonight.
Pastor, feel free to put your video on whenever you're ready.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, so I'm on.
Just can't see you.
Okay.
See over here.
Right, you can't see me.
See down here.
Yeah.
Okay, so click it.
There we go.
There.
There he is.
Right.
There it is.
You're all set.
Wasn't there a song out there that had that line in it? You can't see me?
Oh, it says, can you see me now?
I don't know, there was a rock
If you
and
could
roll
see
song.
me now, that's a heavenly song.
Ken Rhodes, can you hear me?
Yep.
I got a text from Susie, Commissioner Malone. She is running a little bit behind on getting home from work, but she
Okay.
will be here.
Great.
Okay, just want to let you know when you get the roll call.
Mayor, I also got a text from Commissioner Burr. He says he's having some trouble with his Wi-Fi, but he's going to keep trying to connect.
All right. All right.
And just so you know, I'm having trouble with my dock. I get kicked off the internet every now and then. So if you lose me for a moment, I'll be back.
All right.
I can see it, and I'm 1,420 miles away from you.
No, I just have a cord issue. I'm getting a new one soon, hopefully.
No.
I like the background that you have, John. I like your scenic background.
Yeah. I have just a few of them. I like the library myself.
Okay. And Marvin has books in the background.
Looks like Roger's got a nice sunny view out the back.
Oh, I like that one. Oh, there's the library. Pastor Matro was down in the Keys last week.
He said he was going to swim with the alligators, I think is what he said.
Alligators and sharks.
Okay. According to my clocks that I have in front of me here on these on the computers and my iPad, it is 6 o'clock. So I'm going to call this meeting to order. We are in session. The first thing on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. So we all stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United
States of America and to the
republic for which it stands,
one
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tonight's invocation is going to be offered by us from Pastor Cal Kozel from Trinity Lutheran Church. Welcome, Pastor. It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Pastor, just a quick note, Pastor Cal called me this morning and my phone died, so I couldn't get back to him. But he and Linda got a new laptop, and he wasn't too sure if he was going to be able to join us on Zoom, and he was going to do this over the phone. It's determination.
We're going to try. Either
Pastor
way.
Cal, please.
Well, I've been thinking all day about what I was going to say to you tonight and pray out loud. And what kept coming back to me was life is too short. Because many people in this world can't get along with each other. You know, the government right now and the Congress having a hard time getting along. Life is too short. You know, within our own households, many times we can't get along with our spouse or our children. Life is too short. And many times, you know, within our meetings, even a city commission meeting or a meeting at church or some other place, we're having a hard time getting along. Life is too short. But Jesus just says, make long story short, for God so loved the world that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. And he said from the cross, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. So if the Father and Jesus forgive, you know, we're supposed to forgive too. And that's what I was thinking about all day today. Life is too short. Let's just forgive each other as we have been forgiven and go about the work that we have. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the life that we have. Many times we think it's too short because we lose loved ones who weren't that old. And then there's others who live to be in their 90s and hundreds. But still, it's too short. Knowing that Jesus promised us eternity, and that's forever in heaven. So let us learn from Jesus and how to forgive so that we can forgive one another and do the work that you have for us to do, whatever meeting we're in our lifetime here on earth. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Pastor Cal,
You're welcome.
for the words.
Have a blessed meeting.
Thank you, sir. The next item on our agenda is roll call. Mr. Rhodes, please.
Commissioner Burr is not here yet. Okay. Commissioner Klinger. Here. Commissioner Wicke.
Here.
Commissioner Malone, not here yet. Commissioner Smith.
Here.
Commissioner Lippman.
Here,
And where are you, Skip?
I'm at the dinner table here in Florida,
Okay.
the Villages.
Okay. Commissioner Good.
Here.
Vice Mayor Mullins.
Present.
Mayor Heil.
Present. Thank you. Just a quick note, I have got a little bit of conversation here with a couple people. Can we watch if we can, everybody stay on mute until you have a question? Because sometimes the background noise starts to interrupt what's going on. So if we can be mindful of the background noise that's around us. So the request would be to stay muted until you have a question or comment. So if you could do that. The next item on our agenda is the proclamations and presentations section. And we have a presentation tonight for the Sturgis Young Center for the Arts update. Sheila.
Sheila, just real quick. Commissioner Malone, you're here, right? I believe I see you.
That's right.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Okay, Sheila, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. So it's been a while since I've presented where we're at in our capital campaign and fundraising efforts. So I felt that now was a really good time since you guys have a very light agenda for today. so as to not extend it too long. So I'm going to share my screen, and you're going to see a timeline that I put together of what we are hoping to improve upon in the next coming couple of years. As everyone is well aware, 2020 was a very interesting year indeed, and we did not raise a lot of funds for any capital improvements, but determined that the restrooms are long overdue for upgrade. And as unappealing as that sounds, COVID and the pandemic actually gave us the perfect reason to move forward with this upgrade by installing touch-free fixtures, new toilets, the whole 9 yards. And so we've been working behind the scenes and with our Building and Grounds Committee, of which Commissioner Burr is on, to put together a plan for that. Last June, through the Michigan Council for Arts and Cultural Affairs, we submitted a project grant for $72,000 approximately for the restroom upgrades, and were awarded 50% of that, $37,812 towards the restroom upgrades for the main floor. We had Vice Architect come in and give us a general cost estimate that came in around $165,000. And then after we were awarded the grant, move forward with having Frederick's Construction come in and give us a little bit more detailed cost estimate. With the rising building costs and stuff like that, the actual cost of renovating the main floor restrooms, the men's, the women's, and the standalone family restroom is in upwards of $288,000. So looking at our capital budget, we had about $80,000 in that tagged for restroom improvements and the project grant. It's obviously time to do some fundraising. So I met last week with the Sturgis Area Community Foundation, and we will be participating in a match grant campaign coming up, details of which will soon be released. And it's a continuation of the Road to Restoration. As you can see from what the timeline I've put together, the Road to Restoration title of the campaign is really fitting for us because this is a long and winding road. The building has many upgrades that are needed, renovations, new carpeting, paint, etc. And it was a really successful launch back in 2019 when we kicked it off and raised over $80,000 for a total of $120,000 to start with the lobby and the main ballroom restoration. And just to let you know, because I know this was something that had come up when the commission meeting last met in the ballroom, the acoustic treatments for the ballroom to help dampen the echo and bounce in there are moving forward. We submitted a project grant to the Community Foundation in the fall for $12,500 and were awarded the full amount. And then with the Holiday Kaleidoscope fundraiser that we did in mid-November, we raised an additional $8,000 to cover the costs of acoustic panels that hopefully will be installed in the beginning of March. So that project is underway and we were able to successfully fundraise to cover those costs. So what you see here is a multi-year breakdown of the different projects, and they are structured in order of urgency. And the thought behind it is that our big overarching goal here at Sturgis Young is to boost economic development, tourism, and community collaboration and growth for the Sturgis area. And to be able to do that, we want to be able to present exciting events in a fresh and modern, clean facility. So all of these projects are in order of what will help us do that. The restrooms, when I first started 2 years ago now, literally my 2-year anniversary will be next week. the restrooms were always something people asked about. When are you going to renovate the bathrooms? When are you going to do it? But restrooms and bathrooms are unappealing, but also very, very expensive. So it was one of those things that was definitely on the capital plan, but COVID helped us kind of push it forward. The other pressing technical issue that I wanted to attack was the projection and AV upgrades for both the ballroom and the auditorium. I would very much like to put my film master's degree to use and host classic films here in our theater. Not competing with the Strand that does first run films, but also being able to showcase Mike Mort's amazing Our Town series without having to spend $1,000 every time we want to rent a projector, because the current projector that we have in-house is from 2003 and is really not functionable. So that is number 2 on our list. And we will be submitting a project grant to MCACA this year for upgrades for the projection in both the auditorium and the ballroom. Our hope is to install new retractable screens in both spaces and a permanently fixed smaller projector in the ballroom that would hang from the ceiling, and then in the auditorium, one that would be affixed to the under balcony, so that we can screen films, possibly host a film festival. Wouldn't that be exciting? And be able to offer things for the community like Saturday morning cartoons and Christmas movies and stuff like that. As we go on the road to restoration, you see, auditorium, carpeting, and paint, possibly late this year, early next year. We just recently finished our lighting upgrade to the main auditorium. As you might have been aware, the house lighting system that we had was completely failing, and it was very, very dark and dim. We completely upgraded that, putting in all new LED lights, and we removed the old neon in the alcove pockets along the walls. So now we have LED color lights in there. And if you haven't seen it yet, I definitely encourage you to get with me and set up a tour. I would love to show you our beautiful new auditorium lighting. It's really, really bright. And so that really kind of shows off the fact that the carpeting is really, really outdated. The paint is chipping and it's time to really kind of put a new shine on the main auditorium. So all of these projects are in order of necessity for really kind of continuing on this road to restoration to help us, be an attractive venue for people wanting to have their weddings, or for shows that are on the road that want to perform in a really great auditorium where Duke Ellington once played, and really helping us to collaborate with area businesses and the DDA and the chamber to bring first-rate programming to the area. So I will stop that. And if any of you would like a copy of that timeline that I just presented, by all means, let me know and I will certainly send it on.
All right. Thank you, Sheila. Do we have any questions for Sheila from the commission? Comments?
Commissioner Good has his hand raised.
Commissioner Good.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Sheila, looking at the timeline, you had like 300,000, 300,000, 400,000. Now, at the end of that, all those numbers look like 1 million. Now, in the circles for each project, the money was not that extensive. In other words, there was 85,000 for painting or for 85 was for the AV work. Anyway, that didn't show up to the 300. So how do those numbers that were on the outside along the roadway, the 300 and the 400,000 numbers, how do they relate to those numbers within the ovals of the project?
It's a very good question, John. Those are actually our fundraising goals for the year. So for example, the 2021 fundraising goal is 300 to 400,000. And then the goal for the campaign in 2022 would be 300,000. Part of why they are very broad and reflective is that I'm still working to get actual figures. The only figures that I have that are like, this is how much it's really going to cost are for the restroom project upgrades of 200. And I think the last cost that came in was $269,000. We were able to shave off about 20,000 by letting Fredericks know that they could work on all 3 restrooms at the same time. That would cut down labor costs. So these are ballpark figures. These are really broad estimates and give us a goal. In actuality, it's closer to 1.5 to 2 million over the next 5 years because we completed the site survey through BICE of the facility assessment early this year. We have a lot of roof repairs, concrete, things that are really not fun to fund and raise funds for, but are in dire need of doing. And so I've been working again with the Community Foundation to make some of these fundraising efforts kind of fun. So for example, the fundraising goal of 300,000 that we're kicking off here soon, we're going to call it Flush 2020. Because everybody is ready to kind of put that year behind us, and we're raising money for restrooms. So kind of being tongue in cheek with that. And so each year we will have another little subset campaign on the road to restoration. But those numbers don't necessarily match up. They're really broad and hoping to cover contingencies and labor costs or engineering costs and stuff like that. So for example, 95,000 for projector screens and the projection and the labor is a broad estimate. I'm still getting the actual numbers, but that's my hope that I'm overshooting so that when the numbers come in, then we'll actually have exceeded our fundraising goal and have enough to cover for any extraneous costs. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does, Sheila. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Any other comments or questions for Sheila?
Mr. Mayor, I have Commissioner Klinger, then Vice Mayor Mullins, then Commissioner Wiki.
Okay, Commissioner Klinger.
Sheila, just first off, thank you for absolutely everything you do. Your effort and ambition is really, it's definitely adds energy to the town, and I can tell. I hear about it a lot, and a lot of people appreciate the changes and the updates. It's very well noticed. John asked the questions I was going to ask actually, but I do want a copy of the map that you have. And then just know that I'd love to get some time to come check out the new lighting.
Certainly.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir. You said Vice Mayor Mullins had a question, correct, Andrew?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins.
Yeah, just I was going to say the exact same thing as Travis. I'd love to check out the lights and also get a copy of that thing if you have a PDF of it. That'd be cool. Thank you.
Okay, and then Commissioner Wiki.
I'm not sure if this is for Sheila or for Mike. The building that's beside the auditorium that's city owned, has there been any interest in that building?
We've had some interest. In fact, I think it's hard to tell how serious people are, but we've had some prospects that we thought were serious, but I don't know that we've had any recent interest. Andrew, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, that's correct. No recent interest. No recent interest in the building.
The reason I ask is I mean, one of the, I guess, negatives you could say of the auditorium is parking and having to walk across the street and stuff like that. But if we could add parking lot right there, I could see that as being a really positive thing. I know that's an extremely expensive endeavor, but I think it would be worth it if nobody's going to take that building. That's all.
Yeah, good comment. Good comment on that. Anybody else? Any other commissioners or anything from that? Seeing nothing from Andrew. Sheila, thank you very much. And again, I want to echo the comments that Commissioner Klinger and Commissioner Mullins said. You're doing a fantastic job. I believe last week was the first of the reopening for a Sunday brunch. I
Correct.
asked Mike this question earlier and he wasn't too sure of the answer. How'd things go?
We were busier than we had been before the pandemic. We
Really?
had, yeah, we had a lot of people. I waited tables. It was fun. Fun is in quotes.
Okay.
So yes, but we had a lot of people come out, surprisingly so because it was so cold. But everybody had a really good time. Food was really good. So yeah,
Good.
we will keep it
And
up.
This weekend, I believe, is the 14th. It's supposed to be Valentine's Day. Are you offering any special occasion here? Any specials for the auditorium?
We had a request of strawberry pie, so I know that will be on the menu. And Anna Dibble, our new event coordinator, will be working on some drink specials as we are able to serve on Sundays. So she's going to make some fun little drink specials for your dates. So.
All right. All right. Well, thank you again for all you're doing for the auditorium. You can really see a difference. Thank you very
Good.
much.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
before you move on, Commissioner Good has his hand raised.
Commissioner Good.
Sheila answered my question when she mentioned drink specials. I was going to ask her if they served like mimosas or could serve alcohol on Sundays with the brunch. Do you have to wait till noon? No.
Nope.
Okay.
We worked last summer to have Sunday sales all day because previously we were open 9 to 1, which only allowed for an hour. So we worked with the MLCC, the Michigan Commission on Liquor and Licensing, to change it to all day sales for Sunday sales. So
And what you experienced, I think I term as pent up pandemic demand.
Yes.
You had a lot of people.
We did, but it was staggered through. I mean, most of it was in the morning. We do offer delivery now, so if you don't want to leave your home, I was waiting for Mike's call for Eggs Benedict, but he never called, so that's okay.
Thank you, Sheila.
You're welcome.
All right. If there's no further comments, we will move on to our next item on our agenda, which is the visitor section. Is there anybody that is listening to us tonight that would like to bring something to the commission that is not on our agenda?
Looks like we do have one person. I have Michael Wilson. I'm going to go ahead and bring him right into the meeting so he can share his video if he'd like.
Okay.
Mike, you should be in as a panelist. Go ahead and unmute yourself and share your video if you wish.
All right. Well, good evening, everybody. Let's see if I can get the video to come on here. Can everybody hear me okay? Got
Yes.
good audio? Okay. Well, good evening, Mayor Heil, Vice Mayor Mullins, City Commissioners. First of all, let me say I missed you guys. I'm glad to be back. As you know, I accepted the position as the Sturgis Area Chamber of Commerce Executive Director about 4 weeks ago. Very glad to have that role. I've been, I would say globe trotting, but I've been mitten trotting for the last 6 years around the state. And I'm really glad to be back home. I'm really glad to be supporting the city of Sturgis and supporting our local business. I look forward to giving you a formal presentation in the near future on what's going to be going on here at the chamber in the near future. And so I just wanted to step in and say hello and greetings and let you all know that I'm here listening. So that's all I wanted to share tonight. So
Glad to have you as our new chamber leader. Thanks, Mike. We do miss you.
thanks.
Glad you're back. Now, are you going to share a video or basically that was it?
That's all I got for you tonight.
There is no video.
No, I could. I'll record something for next time. How's that? So
I just wanted to make sure you could see his smiling face.
that's right.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
If there are no other visitors, we are going to move on. I will take the approval of the agenda for tonight. Someone would like to make that motion?
That was from Commissioner Littman. So
Okay.
move for tonight's agenda.
All right, got a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have support?
John Good, support.
Thank you, sir. We have a motion to approve and support. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr. Commissioner Burr, is there? Okay,
Yes.
great. Thank you. Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman. Skip, is that a yes?
Yes, I didn't, you
Great.
kind of ran over there. I didn't hear you.
Okay. Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Good,
Yes.
and Mayor Heil.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. On that note, then I will take the motion to approve our consent agenda. Do I,
I move to take the consent agenda.
is that you, Mr. Smith? Thank you.
Yes.
I have a motion by Mr. Smith to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a support?
Or
Mr. Good, support.
Commissioner Good supports it. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Littman,
yes.
Commissioner Good,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins,
Yes.
and Mayor Heil.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is the unfinished business section. And we have on tonight the splash pad. Michael, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last year, as you know, the city commission approved moving forward with planning, fundraising, and eventual construction of a splash pad. However, 2020 got in the way. So we anticipated, of course, revisiting that and hopefully moving forward. James Hissong, our grant writer, attended a webinar on DNR Trust Fund grants and other programs, and they've changed the eligibility for a couple of programs, but in particular the Recreation Passport Grant. So they've done a couple of things. They've changed eligibility, and which allows splash pads to be funded through the program. And James did a little bit of an evaluation of the scoring criteria, and he thinks that we could score well enough to be in the competitive range where projects have been funded in the past. So obviously not a guarantee, but it changes things a little bit because we didn't have this opportunity previously. The other item of note is that they increased the amount of funding to $150,000. So I think it's increased over the years. I know when it started, it was $40,000. So the increase in the maximum amount is substantially more and would be a significant amount of funding for this project. On the other side, the deadline for submission is April 1st, which means quite a bit of work has to happen in order for us to submit by that deadline. I think it's possible, some of the things that we have to do, requirements for the grant, we have to have site control, some sort of control or ownership of the property where we intend to build the project. We have to submit a preliminary site plan and design. It doesn't have to be complete, but we need to essentially tell them the scope of work, what our intentions are. We have to include a project cost estimate. So that would, I think, expedite our process that we had set up last year in timeline, but I think it can be done. I'd still like to use a community committee, and I believe that Commissioner Malone and Commissioner Klinger, they were the volunteers that agreed to participate on the committee. Suppose we would have to do our community committee meetings virtually. I've already talked with Holly Carmichael, who's agreed to assist. One of the scoring criteria is universal design, and she has quite a bit of knowledge of that, and she's interested and on board to help us. So that I hope we score well in that area. So I'm really looking for the okay to move forward with the project. You know, the majority of this project, I think our goal is that it be funded either by grants or other community fundraising. I think there would be a, you know, city commitment as well. But we're looking at this as being a project that's going to receive, you know, quite a bit of outside funding. The passport grant determination won't happen until after the 1st of next year. This year, they informed applications of whether they were granted just this month, I believe, in February. I think sometimes it might have been earlier, but I guess that's as good as guess as any of when we would find out, which lines up with our timeline of still constructing in spring, summer of 2022. The fundraising portion, I would still anticipate, I think what we had planned before, doing community fundraising and other grants in August through November of this year. So really we're kind of speeding up the site selection and design with a little bit more aggressive time frame, and then having more time to do community fundraising. Happy to entertain any questions that you have.
Any questions for Michael on this subject? Michael, what was the overall cost you were estimating for the splash pad?
I believe in the capital plan, we have 500,000, and keep in mind, part of that is making the assumption that we might have to build restroom changing rooms. I guess it's site dependent, but that's included in the price. When we were looking at the project scope and what we could get for the money, I think the actual splash pad would be around 350,000. There are other unknowns though, you know, the infrastructure that's available at the site we select is going to have an impact on cost too. So even though we have $500,000 planned, I think that's variable.
Okay. And does this if we do not get this grant, will we proceed with the splash pad, just with hopefully community fundraising?
Yeah, I would say so. Last year when we talked about moving forward, this grant wasn't available. So I think it puts us in a better position. But yeah, I think we intend to move forward.
Okay. Any other questions from the commission? Seeing Andrew shake his head at this point, is there anybody in our audience tonight that would like to address this or have questions towards this? Andrew.
Actually, yes, we have Dan Cherry has a question, so I'm going to bring him into the meeting, allow him to talk. Dan, you can unmute yourself when you're ready.
Yeah, just a quick question. Where are they looking at for the splash pad? What the location is?
So, wait, I was muted. Dan, we haven't selected a site. The commission, and I think the community has talked about some common sites that rise to the top, but the process that we would have is to try to kind of let the community have some input. And we did a similar process with the dog park, and the committee set up to make a recommendation to the city commission on the site. So that's a long answer to say that we haven't selected a site yet.
I see Commissioner Wiki has his hand raised, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Thank you, Dan. Commissioner Wiki.
I was just going to throw my 2 cents in as far as that goes. There's 2 places that come to mind, and one you might not be thinking of, and that's the old tennis court area at Langrick Park. It's kind of a unused area. There's a parking lot right there. And then the other place I think was said before, Thurston Woods, that grassy island between the park and the Doyle Center.
Well, both of those have been discussed. So I think they're going to be in our conversation. And while we have two commission, representatives, commissioners that want to attend, the way the style we have for our committee meetings is basically whoever shows up is on the committee.
All right, there are no other questions. We're looking for a motion on this agenda item. What say the commission?
Mr. Mayor, if I may,
You may, Commissioner Good.
I would move that the city commission direct the city manager to proceed and move forward with committee work to create a splash pad for the city of Sturgis, and in doing so, to apply for a grant from the appropriate agency to help fund that project.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Good. Do I have support?
Support by Commissioner Klinger.
Thank you, sir. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Littman,
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Malone,
Yes.
Commissioner Burr,
Yes.
Commissioner Good,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Mullins,
Yes.
Commissioner Klinger,
Yes.
Mayor Heil.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you, sir. The next item on our agenda is new business. There is nothing under our new business section for tonight. The comment I'll make on that is I believe the number of years I've sat on this commission, I've never seen that. So this is the first time that I've ever seen that we do not have any new business for our commission meeting. Moving along, we are at commission and staff comments. So let's start with staff. Welcome, Damien. Do you have any commissions? Not commission, or comments? Mr. Knapp. You're on mute. Andrew, can you unmute him?
I'm on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yep, now I can hear you.
Okay. Yep, no questions. I appreciate you guys having me tonight.
Thank you, sir, for being here. Going down, how about Holly? Do you have any comments or questions?
I don't have any comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other than I think Sheila did a great job on her presentation.
Oh, yes. Roger.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Andrew?
Nothing this evening. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I'll get right back to you in a second, Michael. How about Mike Wilson? You're still showing here. Do you got any other comments you'd like to make?
Just one more. I forgot to say this when I was talking before, but over the next 45 or 60 days or so, I'm going to be doing a listening tour with local businesses, but I would like to invite any one of the commissioners or members of the city staff that would like to spend 30 minutes or 60 minutes with me discussing operations of the chamber, what they'd like to see, what they've seen. I call it 3 ups, 3 downs and programs. And so if there's anybody that would like to do that, I'm going to put my email address in the chat box. You can capture that. And if you are interested in spending 30 or 45 minutes with me going over the chamber operations, I'd be glad to spend some time with you and I'll get you on the schedule. Shannon Weinberg is the new executive assistant at the chamber, and she'll be reaching out to you and setting up a schedule for us to talk. So with that, I will put something in the chat box. And I look forward to anybody that wants to meet with me and spend some time talking about the chamber. That's all.
Thanks, Mike. Ken Rhodes.
Nothing tonight. Thanks.
Thank you. And Michael, anything more to add?
Yes, sir. So I'm glad to see Lieutenant Knapp taking one for the team. end of the meeting. Thank you very much. I will say you probably should savor the meeting. It is the calm before the storm, so we're about to get busy, getting busy. I just wanted to bring up and mention that we're probably going to be in this condition of virtual meetings for at least a couple more months. I think it makes sense for us to try to make sure that we're having a pleasant, at least from a technical standpoint, pleasant meetings. They're running well. So if you're having technical issues or it's always a kind of a crazy thing with tablets and computers, but I think if you have issues, you need help, or maybe you need some sort of better camera, speaker, mic, or whatever, please let us know. That's something that I think we should be doing to make sure that you're all set up properly so that we can have successful meetings. And that's it. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Michael. Let's move on to the commissioners. Commissioner Klingham.
Thank you, Unite. Just a big thank you to Sheila. She's done nothing but wonders ever since we've brought her on board. Big thanks to Mike Wilson. I can't wait to see what he does. I love his ambition and his drive, so it's good to see that at the helm of somewhere in town. Yeah, I appreciate you guys' time as usual. I believe I reached out to Mike regarding some splash pad thoughts. Yeah, other than that, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Malone.
Sorry for my tardiness. I just got out of work and came home as fast as I could. So, and for some reason, people on 12 go the speed limit. I don't understand this mentality. But anyway, sorry for my tardiness. Other than that, nothing else. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Smith.
Yeah, I'd like to propose the city commission have the planning commission take up the issue of urban chickens for the master plan, since we seem to be leaning towards a little bit more sustainability.
Okay, did you get that, Michael?
I did. So the I guess appropriate process, if you would like the planning commission to take a look at an issue, is to refer them, as Commissioner Smith is doing. Is there consensus? You have them by the commission as a whole to visit this issue?
Okay.
I will concede a yes on that. As you know, I favor urban chickens. And I know that I worked with the planning commission in the past on this issue. There was a ordinance presented to the commission at that time. Obviously, we've had some turnover here. And as Commissioner Smith indicated, we're looking more into sustainability and stay at home. And so I will provide my thumbs up for conceding to that issue.
Okay.
I believe it's worth the discussion. Sure.
Okay, so I have three people, so three of our commissioners supporting.
Absolutely on 4 then. You know, I hear a lot of public chatter about the interest of urban chickens, so.
Okay, and I have a thumbs up from Commissioner Wiki. Commissioner Whitman or Commissioner Malone, do you have any thoughts on this? It looks like you have consensus, Michael.
Okay, very good. I will let Will and the planning commission know.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Smith. You got anything else? Thank you, sir. Commissioner Burr.
I'd like to thank Andrew again. Had a little Wi-Fi issue. Charter strikes again. If we get another cable service in here, that'd probably help us a great deal with the 2 options we have. But other than that, nothing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Good.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. At the last meeting, Vice Mayor Mullins had indicated the issue of the hoop houses might be sent to the Planning Commission with regard to the master plan update. And if I'm not mistaken, it was just last year that we put the okey dokey on the master plan, and they only review that master plan once every 5 years. I'm not sure the vice mayor's constituents were really looking forward to a 5-year wait for the planning commission to look at that issue. Nod your head yes if you think that's correct, Vice Mayor. But the thing is, like the urban chickens, maybe we want to refer that to the planning commission to take a look at it prior to the actual timing for the master plan. And beyond that, I would say with regard to the auditorium, we're having a planning session 17th, are we not, City Manager?
That's correct.
Put your thoughts into what might be planning with regard to the budget and its attention toward the auditorium in the upcoming years. That's all I would say at this point. And thank you, Mr. Mayor. That concludes my comments.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Mayor, I'm sorry, Commissioner Klinger has his hand raised.
Commissioner Klinger.
I just wanted to echo what John said about the, maybe the sense of urgency as far as the constituents go. In public discussion, it happens often that people ask about these things. So, maybe moving forward at a more swift pace on those two things specifically would be a good thing for the community. That's all.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Littman.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, City Manager has his hand raised.
All right, excuse me, Mr. Littman. Michael.
Just a point of clarification, Your Honor. I think what the Vice Mayor requested, or at least what I understood, is that in the master plan, there was already a goal and objective to look at community gardens. And so I think what he asked is that when the commission look at that issue, they consider hoop houses and other structures as part of that conversation. And that, at their normal course, I think that in the master plan, it's priority 2, and they're still working on 1. And that when they get to that in their process, that they look at it at that time. So they wouldn't be waiting until the master plan update.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Michael. No more hands raised? Not Commissioner Littman. Any comments?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor. Like I say, I wish you could be here. It's a little warmer, and I missed the snow to a certain extent, but I'm going to laugh on that. Other than that, I think we're good to go.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Wiki.
I got nothing tonight. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. And Vice Mayor Mullins.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of things. There was a couple of articles I read in a journal recently. One of them had to do with the Sturgis Township, and they had an article in there that they had approved a poverty asset test, which essentially makes it that they had a board that would determine whether a property meets the poverty income guidelines and is eligible for a partial or a full tax exemption on their property taxes. Sound like I didn't know if this is something that's being discussed all around, or is this just something that the township kind of came up with? I'm curious as to if Mike Hughes, maybe you found out or heard anything about this and know why that ever took place, and if that's something that everybody's considering.
Yeah, that's something. I believe there was an amendment to that statute, and there's an update that's occurring. So I had some information from our assessor, and I think he has a plan. I don't think what I understood is that we would be updating that, but not like, in the next month or two. So I'll kind of check on that because I believe we provided some update that we're good for now, but at some point we do. So I'll give you an update on that process and what the change was and what our timing is for addressing that issue.
Okay, is that something that's mandated for municipalities to do, or?
I believe we currently have a policy, and it's a state statute. So yes.
Okay.
So it's determined by the board of review. The board of review, who you take your, assessment. If you question your assessment, you go to the board of review. You also go to the board of review for a poverty exemption, and there are guidelines by the state. We're supposed to have a policy, which we do. And obviously, if it gets updated, then the assessor will review that, and we may bring something to you if it's necessary. But as Mike said, we have a current policy that the board of review follows, and it's income guidelines and assets and a whole bunch of different stuff.
Okay, so the thing that the township did is they just updated theirs then? Basically, this isn't something new for them.
If they didn't have a policy previously, then it would be a new policy, or they may just have updated theirs. I can't be sure exactly what action they took, but Dale is on top of it to make sure that we're in compliance with state statute.
Great. Well, we hate to lose out on any revenue. I know, that's not my point there, but I just didn't know if there was something we needed to do. So thank you for the explanation. And while I got you on the line there, Ken, the Super Bowl this past weekend, there were some interesting views that they had of these 8K cameras, and they were produced by Sony, and they called them Sony Venice cameras. And what they did is a short depth field kind of thing. I'm noticing that your view that you've got on there reminds me of the Super Bowl and some of those things that they showed, which was really, really weird and cool at the same time. But I got to tell you, it really shows off that hell of a stash you got going on there.
Thanks. Yeah, this is actually, I think everybody's got that option. It's blur. So you can have a background of, and it's just not that my background, it's my office wall, but it is blurred. So I guess it's cutting edge.
Yeah, digging the stash though, man. That's pretty cool.
Thanks.
And one more thing I saw in the paper as well was Myers Automotive collaborated with Stony Summy at the St. Joe County Veterans Affairs and donated a vehicle to a veteran in need. I'm curious, and nothing that needs to be discussed here tonight, but looking into the possibility of any old city vehicles. I don't know what we're getting out of those things at auctions and that kind of thing, but if the opportunity presented itself that we might be able to participate in collaboration with Barry at Myers and also Stony, and maybe look into something like that in the future, that'd be really cool.
What a great idea, Vice Mayor.
Good idea.
Mr. Mayor, Michael Wilson has his hand raised.
Mike, I think Mike's got an answer for this, Jeff.
Oh,
good.
Coming from the veteran world, I'd just like to say that I've worked with a couple of veterans locally that are looking to start a nonprofit to create a veteran A to B cars program to help veterans that, a lot of times veterans can find a job and they can find a place to live, but sometimes they can't find a way to get back and forth to work. So a lot of times when I'm approached to support a veteran, they're just looking for a car to get from A to B. And so we're looking at starting this nonprofit called Veteran A to B Cars. And so be watching for that in the near future. And so if the city or anybody else wants to donate or be a part of that program, we'll be kicking off hopefully by the summertime, Veteran A to B Cars right here in St. Joe County.
Very cool. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
And last but not least, Commissioner Malone, had you been on your snow machine, you probably would have been here on time. I yield.
Thank you, sir.
I yield. Good one.
Thank you. I just want to thank everybody for being here tonight. Appreciate it. Mike, I'm again, Mike Wilson. I'm glad you were here tonight to be with us and back with us, and hope to see you more often. And Sheila has left. I do appreciate what she's doing at the auditorium. You can see a lot of difference at the for the facility. Other than that, there is nothing left on our agenda, so I'm going to adjourn our agenda, and we are officially adjourned. Thank you all.
55 minutes.